like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe.
Let's listen to Pavarotti.
Can I be your superhero?
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I am your host, Pavarotti, here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. And you know what's interesting? We had a new doc drop last night, and I started to put this one out then. I was just a little bit tired, so I said, well, I'll just wait till in the morning. So I got this one, and I got one other video I'm going to bring to you. I found something that's really kind of insane. But the first thing I wanted to do in this one is let all of my subscribers out there know that y'all are all very important to me, and a lot of y'all have been with me for a long time, and a lot of y'all keep me straight on things. So a video I did yesterday where I did a reaction to Post-Woke World. In my mind, I was doing that reaction in a very, respectful manner. But when my subscribers come to me and let me know that that wasn't the case, well, then I heed what they tell me. So let me start by apologizing, first of all, to Post-Woke World for any disrespect that I showed towards you. Actually, I think that channel is excellent, and I think she is very, very smart, and I actually appreciate her very, very much. I watched her and A.R. Hayes last night have a wonderful conversation, and I just want to, first of all, apologize if, for disrespecting in any way. I'm going to get that out of the way, just to let you know. But moving past that, it is interesting. I'm going to move past apologizing to somebody, and then I'm going to talk a little smack about myself and, just some of the others out there, a couple of guilters. Because when I seen the doc last night that dropped, it actually is a simple doc with some simple information, but it answers a ton of questions that we had in this case. And it's also going to end some of the speculation that we've had in this case. You see, for a long time now, especially me, I've overreacted on a lot of things. I'm like, I will overreact on things. And the guilters out there, they do the exact same thing. They overreact in a different way. For example, we're going to talk about 404B here in a minute. And a 404B is past wrongs or criminal records on things that are able to be brought into a actual trial. So when they've brought this up in court before, and there was the prosecution, they said at some point may have some 404B things. Well, I went off the deep end and I said, well, goodness, 404B, they're going to try to bring in Kohberger's prior drug use. And I was wrong. You were wrong, Pavarotti. In fact, Pavarotti, sometimes you are the moron. But the guilters, they went in the other direction. The 404B, one of them said, oh, it's the break-in at the lab over in Pullman. That's what it is. Kohberger broke into a lab, tried to create a bomb or stole cleaning materials. Nope, that was a farce. And then I got my other one over there that I used to really enjoy watching until Steve G got his hooks in her, and now she's dead set still to this day trying to talk about that stupid Garrett Discovery stuff that is nothing. They said in the hearing, no connection online, no connection following the victims online. The Garrett Discovery should not even be brought up anymore, but they continue to do it. But anyway, we're going to get into what this doc is, what it really is, where it came from, what it means, so that we're all on the same page. So without further ado, let's roll.
By law enforcement, I think it was a seatbelt ticket months before.
The purpose of the submission of that was simply to identify the car that he drove and the fact it didn't have a license plate on the front. Wasn't to suggest it's otherwise connected to the homicide, except to say this is a car of interest, and the defendant was found driving it.
Well, let's talk about that license plate for a second, though, because that's not something you can see from the videos. And that was testimony you heard today. You can't see that from the video that the cops relied on here. So that bit about the license plate, that's something a little bit extra that happened after we have this IGG stuff. That wasn't known before. There was no video collected from WSU before. There was no communication with the officers at WSU before. So before the identification through IGG.
I'm just not tracking why that matters, but go ahead.
It matters because this wasn't a real investigation.
Okay, so now we've got on February 4th, this is from the state, notice of intent to use IRE 404B evidence. Comes now, state of Idaho is hereby given notice pursuant to Rule of Evidence 404B2. Remember that, 404B2. The state of Idaho intends to present evidence of crimes, wrongs, or other acts specifically. Well, it turns out this crime, wrong, or other act that we all thought was something huge is the dadgum video of the traffic stop that occurred on West Pullman Road and Farm Road in Moscow, Idaho on August 21st, 2022. Excuse me. Involving Kohberger and Latah County Sheriff's Corporal Darren Duke. Discovered as audio video 000100. So they just now discovered this video to the defense. And they're just now bringing in this stupid traffic stop that was in their PCA as evidence. But where's this video been? I mean, this is the one that everybody's wondered forever. Why has this one not leaked? We got to see the other one. It's just now been entered into evidence. Where's it been? Citation number issued regarding the same traffic stop. Look at this issue, 000084. Remember that? And they just discovered it as Bates 1312 to 1313. State intends to introduce this evidence for the purpose of proving defendant's identity. This is what makes me mad, because the judge in that hearing, as I just let you listen to, as Ann Taylor was bringing up how this was not even relevant to the probable cause affidavit, the judge directs to Ann Taylor that this went towards proving the defendant's identity, the vehicle he drove, and then I got his address and phone number. The issue has previously been addressed by the court in a December 15, 2023 sealed order denying motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct. And then they note in there, see page 43. Respectfully submitted on the 4th day of February 2025, Ashley Jennings. So the Rule 404B evidence, no, it's not that Kohberger's building a bomb at the Pullman, chem lab. It's not Garrett discovery. It's this stupid traffic stop. And we're going to get a little bit further into it now. And the only reason that they pulled this thing in is because of the way that the judge grilled Ann Taylor when she brought it up in that hearing that I just showed you. So here is the citation, and it actually, you see the file date was 8/22/22, so the ticket was on 8/21. It reaches the court record by 8/22. Prosecutor against Kohberger, Bill Thompson, of course, and it actually turned into a failure to appear. He didn't show up for court in time to address that seatbelt ticket, and they issued a failure to appear on Kohberger, but then he immediately paid his $10 ticket and they removed it. So this is the case information on it. And here's Rule 404B, and it said 404B2. So permitted uses, notice in a criminal case. This evidence may be admissible for another purpose, such as proving motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake or lack of accident in a criminal case, the prosecutor must file and serve reasonable notice of the general rule of any such evidence that the prosecutor intends to offer at trial, and do so reasonably in advance of trial or during the trial if the court, for good cause shown, excuses lack of pretrial notice. So identity is why they're entering it into the record now, and the reason they're doing it is because the judge told Ann Taylor that the reason it was in the PCA is it must have went to establishing his identity, which that is not why it was in the PCA. But the prosecution took that as, well, let's hurry up and get it in there because the judge says it's identity. We can use it as identity. So this is an example of Hippler actually helping the prosecution. He's done it more than this occasion too. So, but it also goes to the fact that like the Garrett discovery, that's not coming in. That stuff's gone. There's no evidence Kohberger ever followed the victims. He didn't send Kaylee a text message saying, hey. All right. I mean, that is the biggest bunch of crap that Steve G has put into this thing, and everything he has put into this thing to this point is a lie. So I wish Frenzy would just, divorce Steve G and she would go back to being an excellent investigator and presenter.
The new police report that was talked about, I didn't see it in the submission given to Your Honor.
I've had such an avalanche, I can't think of what it is off my head. If it did, it certainly wouldn't be part of the analysis for the court in determining whether or not you've met your showing to have a Franks hearing.
Well, that's good, because it occurred after my Franks briefing came.
So I have to bring that home because the guilters, like I knew they would, took that little statement in the court and tried to run with it like it was going to be something big against Kohberger. They went to the Garrett discovery thing. It's going to be presented as the new evidence. There's the police report. Nope. The new police report was the body cam stop and the traffic stop from Corporal Duke. All it was. Quit grasping for straws. There's no connection to Bryan Kohberger from digital devices. They know that Garrett discovery is nothing. There's no connection. And here's how we know there's no connection. All right, this late stage of the game, because in that hearing, Ann Taylor said there's no connection. They didn't find any kind of connection with his car, the DNA from his car. There's no DNA. Drunk turkey. There's no DNA. Not lack of DNA. There's nothing in the car that connects him to the victims. Nothing. No, nothing. And there's no digital information that connects the Kohberger to the victims. Nothing. And here's how we know for a fact that that's the case. Because not only did Ann Taylor state it, the prosecutor, when she got up for her reply, it confirmed it. And if the prosecution confirms it, it's not there. And listen to the prosecution confirm it.
We're going to go to lack of connection. I think this has already been addressed by Your Honor. At the end of the day, this fact just has no bearing on the probable cause determination. The investigators relayed the known information they had at the time, and timing is important. At the time of the application of most of the warrants, the evidence taken from the defendant and his vehicle was still being reviewed. We didn't know if there was a connection. Only a few warrants even fell outside of that. Apple, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, PayPal, and Microsoft. However, even for those warrants, the state submits to you that fact's not necessarily exculpatory. The defendant's belongings and the vehicle were recovered approximately 6 weeks after the homicides. And that fact was known in the probable cause affidavit. It could be reasonably inferred. But to the extent the court believes that law enforcement should have included this information, again, I can accept that, but it's not enough to outweigh the balance of the information that was included that did establish probable cause.
Okay, so now let's head some of these guilters off at the pass before they can even think this stuff up. because they're obviously going to try to use this to insinuate, well, that's where they're going to be able to prove Kohberger was stalking the victims. He was near the Kohberger residence. So this is, this is going to go to, stalking of some kind. Nope. Let's go ahead and dive in and eliminate that before they ever even try it. All right, so here is the PCA where it says, further investigation, including a review of Latah County Sheriff Deputy Corporal Duke's body cam and reports, shows that on August 21st, 2022, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho by Corporal Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was the sole occupant, that means Kopacka wasn't in the car with him, was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra. I always thought Kopacka was in the car with him right here, but turns out that was way over, giving them way too much credit in this case. They were driving a 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate. It was set to expire during the stop, which was recorded via law enforcement body camera that I guess they just now turned over. Kohberger provided his phone number, hereafter the 8458 phone. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone number is issued by AT&T. See, I always thought they were hiding the fact Kopacka was in the car with him, and that was the big secret here, but it turns out there's no secret. These guys are just that inept. This investigation was just that inept, and it's mind-boggling to me at this point. So when it says in that record that the video of the traffic stop occurring at West Pullman Road and Farm Road in Moscow, Idaho on October 21st, 2022 involving Bryan Kohberger and Latah County Sheriff's Office Corporal Darren Duke, it's interesting because this is not new information. We've known this for a long time. In fact, I did a video a long time ago. I don't even remember how I did it, but I took the map of the cell tower coverage, and it showed that area, the traffic stop, and the cell tower coverage did not extend out to the King Road residence, or maybe it did. I don't even remember how I did it, but I had calculated that there was no way Kohberger could be at the King Road residence based on that traffic stop, based on something. I have to go back and find that video. I don't even know what it was, but apparently it was exactly on the money. But here's exactly where this traffic stop occurred, just in case anybody's wondering. Okay, so here is the main road in Moscow, and here is Farm Road and Pullman Road right here. This is where the traffic stop occurred. So before the guilters can try to put him in the area of stalking, you'll see way down here is the King Road residence. A much further distance to that than it is to, these two ale houses over here, or this breakfast club, or Jersey Mike's right here. So absolutely no relevance to the King Road residence whatsoever. So don't even get that in your mind, guilters. You're done before you ever get started. This thing has no relevance. So I think the moral of the story is I could be a moron for giving law enforcement way too much credit in this case. And because I may have given them too much credit, I may have overthought some of the aspects as it relates to Bryan Kohberger in this case. In fact, I'm leaning more and more every day towards thinking maybe Twizzlestick is correct. And if it turns out you're correct, Twizzle, I will give you a formal apology. I will give you a formal apology as well. But I am starting to lean more and more towards Twizzlestick being correct. And Twizzlestick has always said that Kohberger never went anywhere near Moscow Pullman that night. In my mind, I can't believe that they can be that inept. And other aspects of the case, dictate that he had to go at least to Emma's house, but I could be wrong. It's obviously a setup. But Kohberger doesn't actually have to go to Emma's house that night for it to be a setup. So, I'm really diving into this thing and trying to think on a much more basic level than I have been thinking, just simply because of crap like this that keeps coming up that tells me think on a more basic level as it relates to Kohberger. You don't have to think on a more basic level as it relates to the real perpetrators in this case, because those people can think. But these investigators in this case, The prosecution, man, I think they're playing checkers. They're not even playing checkers. I think they're playing with little blocks with numbers on them, like 1, 2, and 3, and just kind of rolling them around in a playpen at times. Not good. Not good when you got dummies trying to take you out and people think they're smart. Oh, anyway, apology again to post-woke world. You're definitely not a moron. Sergeant Farina, that dude's a moron. A moron. The dog, Murphy, Special Agent Murphy, the dog, moron. Pavarotti sometimes, moron. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. I got another video coming here, not too long after this one. Now that one is interesting. I found something that just kind of shocked me to another world, and I think it will you too. And it will go a long way to making me want to double down on dumb when it comes to people talking about frat boys did it. Pavarotti's out. Hold up. As I was rewatching this video before I posted it, it slapped me right in the face. It slapped me right in the face. Look at this again. Oh, this answers so many questions.
By law enforcement, I think it was a seatbelt ticket months before.
The purpose of the submission of that was simply to identify the car that he drove and the fact it didn't have a license plate on the front. It wasn't to suggest it's otherwise connected to the homicide, except to say this is a car of interest, and the defendant was found driving it.
Well, let's talk about that license plate for a second, though, because that's not something you can see from the videos. And that was testimony you heard today. You can't see that from the video that the cops relied on here. So that bit about the license plate, that's something a little bit extra that happened after we have this IGG stuff. That wasn't known before. There was no video collected from WSU before.
Good grief. I don't know how I missed it. God, probably 4 times now. Think about what just happened right there. Ann Taylor said, let's talk about the license plate. That cannot be seen in the video. And you heard that in testimony today. Now, look, that means the testimony today, you don't see any of Ann Taylor's video surveillance experts or Cy Ray or anybody sitting in that courtroom. Only people you see sitting in that courtroom are Payne and Mowry. So that means Payne, more than likely, when they put him on the stand, admitted, because she said, you heard in testimony today, Payne admitted that you could not tell if that vehicle and all the videos in Moscow had a front license plate or not. She said that information didn't come until after the IGG and the video was collected at WSU. And she said that no video was collected from WSU until after the IGG. Well, the IGG didn't come out till the 19th. So they didn't get any of that video from Washington State University in the car at Washington State University until after December 19th. And none of the video in Moscow showed that the car didn't have a front license plate. So they didn't add the no front license plate part to this until they got the Washington State University footage of Kohberger's car, if that even is Kohberger's car. So all this time, this front license plate, the car didn't have a front license plate. It didn't have a front license plate. There's no way to even know if the car in Moscow had a front license plate or not. The car in Moscow could have had a front license plate. That's now totally freaking immaterial to the case. They didn't add the no front license plate until they got the WSU footage. None of the footage in Moscow showed the car didn't have a front license plate. Now that one right there, that could eliminate, you take that list of 22,000 Elantras and you make it smaller because only some of them didn't have a front license plate. Well, now you go back to eliminate that part. How many of them did have a front license plate? Now we got another 22,000 Elantras that could be suspects. Bam, 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 bam.
Fly away. It's the first time